My name is Jessica Hay, and I am with the National Girls Collaborative Project, and I'm here to talk about the If Then collection. And I'm joined by my amazing colleague, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Jolene Gustafson, also from National Girls Collaborative Project. Thanks for attending.
So again, reminders being recorded. You can use the chat for questions or comments throughout. I decided because we only have 50 minutes together, I tossed the Zoom poll out. So if you want to share in the chat your name, kind of where you're joining from, and what you're hoping to get out of this session, that would be wonderful. And while we do that, I realized I did not share the audio during my screen share. So I'm going to bring this down and then share it again. Okay. So a little bit about what we're going to do today. I'm going to do a very brief overview of what the National Girls Collaborative Project is, because the If Then collection is just one of many things that we do. So I want to make sure that you hear about a couple of the other things that might interest you as well. And then we'll do a background of the If Then initiative and the collection. And then we're going to do a demo of the actual website, which is really helpful because you can actually see how you search things and where you find these great assets. And then we're going to kind of play with the collection, and we're going to do a couple activities together. I'm going to highlight a few of the resources to make it nice and easy for y'all. Then we'll do a little closing, and I'll have a final slide that has lots of info. So either take a screen grab out of it or take a picture of it, however, or write it all down if that's how you do it. I do all three. So that's weird, I know, but I do all three. Okay, so the National Girls Collaborative Project is an organization that brings together other organizations committed to encouraging girls to pursue careers in STEM. We do that through a variety of projects. You can see some of those on here. We work with the Franklin Institute and partner on the Leap into Science program. We work with the University of Chicago on Crypto Club. We also manage the Connectory, which is the largest national database of STEM opportunities. So that's a great one to check out as well. We also have the Fab Femmes, which is an international database of female role models. So if you're looking for female role models in a variety of STEM fields, that's a great place to check out as well. We also have our National Girls Advisory Board, who, if you came to either of the keynote or the panel this week, you got to see some of them in action. And then we've been working with Lyda Hill Philanthropies to launch this If Then collection, which I'm going to talk a lot more about, so I'm not going to touch on that too much. We also have national webinars on a variety of topics that I think would be of interest for you all, and so keep your eye out for those. They're free for everyone. We also have local statewide collaboratives and leadership teams that convene educators and researchers for professional development and supports for programs in their states. While NGCP programs and partners are located in every state, we have collaborative leadership teams in 41 states. And today we facilitate collaboration between more than 42,000 organizations serving 20 million girls and 12 million boys. Since a lot of the organizations, like where you all work, serve girls and boys with STEM activities. If you have questions, that was like very fast, and I'm sure I missed a few things, but if you have any questions, just either ask in the chat or feel free to reach out to me. My information will be on that final slide as well. So before I talk a little bit about the background of the If Then collection, I want to share this video that kind of gives you a good overview of it.
If Then, an initiative from Lyda Hill Philanthropies, aims to empower STEM innovators as role models and inspire the next generation of girls to pursue STEM careers. The If Then collection is the largest database of images available depicting real women in STEM, featuring photos, videos, posters, bios, and more from amazing women innovators with unique STEM careers. These items are free for non-commercial and non-profit use. The collection is a core component of the If Then mission to change the way the world sees women in STEM. We can't wait to see how your organization might use these images to inspire the next generation.
Your ideas are valuable.
Don't limit yourself to professions that you think sort of exist in a box. You can be really creative.
How do I get to a certain place, and do I need to always take a traditional route? There are no rules.
Own your career, own your journey.
You should really embrace how unique you are as a person.
And eventually you'll succeed. If we never say no to any dream, then the world is your oyster.
Interested in using the If Then collection in your school or nonprofit organization? Visit the ifthencollection.org to learn more.
Wasn't that great? Every time I see that video, it makes me smile. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but if you were in the keynote yesterday, Danielle was there in that video.
If then.
There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to share a little bit of background of kind of like why and how this collection was created. So If Then seeks to further advance women in STEM by empowering current innovators and inspiring the next generation of pioneers. So it's really rooted in a firm belief that there's no better time to highlight positive and successful female professional role models. So it's the If Then initiative and collection is really designed to activate a culture shift among young girls, to open their eyes to STEM careers. They do this in a couple of ways. So one, by funding and elevating women in STEM as role models. And some of them you've met through the week. Those are our ambassadors. It does that by convening cross-sector partners in entertainment, fashion, sports, business, academia, and many others to illuminate the importance of STEM everywhere. And three, it's inspiring girls with better portrayals of women in STEM and specifically to pique their interests in STEM careers. So part of this work includes a group of really talented women STEM professionals across a variety of industries who are interested really in inspiring the next generation of girls to consider STEM. These 125 women serve as If Then ambassadors, and they're featured throughout the collection. So you're going to see some of them in just a few minutes. And again, some of them were on the panel on Tuesday and the keynote yesterday. The If Then collection is actually the largest free resource of its kind. So in this digital library, you will find thousands of photos, videos, activity sheets, and other assets that represent women in STEM fields. The careers featured are as diverse as shark tagging, which gets me every time. That sounds so fascinating. Fashion design, training Olympic athletes, and everything in between. The real main purpose of the collection is to provide educators like yourselves, museums, nonprofit organizations, parents and students, all with high quality STEM content for free of charge. Yes, you heard that correct. All of this content is free of charge for you to use for your educational purposes. And when I say educational purposes, I mean also marketing for your program. So if you were looking to create a flyer or a brochure or something like that, and you wanted some really great images to feature on there to highlight your STEM programming, you can use those images from the collection. You can use it in social media, things like that that are for your programs. That is part of your educational use as well. It's pretty great, right? Because really, who doesn't believe that if she can see it, then she can be it? So are you ready to dig into this collection a little bit? I'm going to stop my screen share to allow Jolene to take over. Jolene's going to do a live demo of our website for y'all.
Hi there, sorry about that. I should have unmuted before I shared my screen. It hit the little microphone icon for me, so my apologies. So first, this is the homepage. Obviously, you saw it in the video that Jessica just shared. There have been a couple of things added since that, so I just want to draw your attention to that. So, you'll see the, information about what the If Then collection is, and there's, the About section if you want to learn more about how this came together and the organization behind it. Frequently asked questions, that's a really extensive set of everything from, do we need to credit photographers? Excuse me, and the answer is no. You do not. And to, how can you, if you have questions about how to get additional information about the assets, you'll find that there, and the full collection. The 2 new additions since that video, where you can click here, there's an educator hub. This was really designed for classroom teachers. That said, I think there are a lot of things in here that could be helpful in the informal space. There's a gender representation toolkit. This was originally created to help museums, but you can also use it. It's a great way to audit the images and videos that you use in your program and that are on display in your physical space. And it can also be used beyond gender just to audit other types of diversity, because we know that representation and role models are key. So as you start to scroll down the page, you'll see there are some featured categories. These are curated collections of, photos, videos, and other assets. And then down at the bottom of the page, there are these featured collections. These will take you to other websites. I want to point out 2 of these that I think could be especially helpful for you. So the first one are the hero videos here. So if you come here, you'll see that each one of the ambassadors, and then in addition, a number of other innovative and inspiring women who've been featured on the Mission Unstoppable series that airs on CBS are here. And each one has a long profile video. So you'll see that there's a search bar here. And this really works the way other searches work. And there are some other filters here, and we'll talk about those in a moment. But the first thing I want to show you is if you go and you click on the icon to watch any of these videos, and I'm just going to start it and then stop it. So you can see the functionality, but these hero videos have been closed captioned in English and in Spanish, right? So those are all available, and that just makes them a little, you can use them more widely. And in addition, if you are on here and you click on this little eye, you'll see info, and we've included the English and the Spanish transcripts. So when you use the search button, know that it's searching all of that text, right? So that makes it really helpful. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you, how to use the search bar here. It continues to amuse me to type Google in, so sorry if you're also not amused by that. But it really just works like Google. It's just your standard search. So you'll see that when I did that, it returned 4 videos. So I'm going to open up the first one, which is Terry Burns, and you'll see here, if you start, scrolling through, and you can see information, you'll see that she works for Google Ventures, right? So that is why she came up. So a tip here is you can just hit this arrow here to go back and forth between your filtered search, the results that are already there. So here next we have Kim Swennen, and you'll see that she works for YouTube, right? So that's why she's on here, with that being part of the Google suite of companies. Next person here, Neha, and you'll see that she works for, you'll come in here, she works for Calico Life Sciences, which is a Google Alphabet company. So you'll see that here you can see it's searching the English transcript about what she's talking about. And then the last person here, Erica, you'll see that she literally Googled majors for math and science careers just to try to figure out, what sort of options were available to her. So at any point you can, click this eye to toggle that off, and then you just X out here to return to your search. I'm going to go back to the homepage and showcase a separate featured collection. So all of the inspiring AAAS If Then ambassadors have a profile document. So these are PDFs, and the great thing about them being PDFs is that all the text that's within them is fully searchable. So again, you can use the search key, the search box here, just to find information. So I'm going to open up one of them here just to sort of show you what these look like, again, using the eye icon to view. And so you'll see here we have Adrienne Starks. She's the founder of Stream Innovations, and she's from Birmingham, Alabama. So you'll see up here at the top, here's her personal, her business website. So you can click there to see that. If you want to reach out to contact her, if you wanted to ask her to speak or something, there's email here, and then you can see where she's active in social media. In addition, you'll have this, there's this quick link here. You could click this, and then you would go to a curated collection of all her assets on the site. So if that's just sort of a shortcut, if you're interested in finding assets on an individual ambassador. And then you'll see that they have personal statements and a biography. And then many of them includes speaker topics, things that they're passionate about, talking to educators and young girls about, and then also some segment pitches. So from there, I'm going to go and show you the full collection. There was a button at the homepage, but at any point, you can always click full collection up in the top menu, and that will take you to a portal with all the assets. Right now, there are more than 2,000 in there. And we're continually adding assets. Right now, season 2 of Mission Unstoppable is showing, so it makes sense to come back and visit. These are ordered by the newest ones come in first. So when you come back and visit, you'll be able to quickly identify what has been added since you were here last time. In addition to keyword search, I want to look more at these filters that I mentioned before. So you can see type. And so a couple I want to draw your attention to is there are a number of photos of women that are labeled field shots. So they're, and it comes from, people like Ray Wynn Grant, who's a wildlife ecologist who works with large mammals, right? So there are shots of her out in the field, but there are also just shots of the women at work, whatever their workplace is, right? So those are always of interest. And another thing I want to point out, in addition to the hero videos, there's also clips of shorter videos where women talk about on the job what they do with their work, and they talk about their STEM journey as well. One other thing, which we know that, sometimes being able to find activities that are already put together are important. So we have activity sheets in here, and Jessica will show you some of these in more detail as we go along. But the one thing I want to point out is that once you filter on one of these, the other filters will start to narrow down, right? So you could go here and you could say, oh, California, I want to see who's in California, and oh, maybe I'm interested in engineering. And it will continue to filter down. And then at any point you can just, click one of these to remove a filter, or hit click all just to come back to the original screen. So in addition to viewing the videos on here, you are also able to share them. So when you click on the share button here, you'll see this comes up the first time. I will mention that this does, once you enter this, it will remember you. So you don't need to do this every time, but you'll come in and put your email address in, say how you're using it. So I'm going to select here, education informal, and then you have to agree to the privacy, the policy in terms of use, and then the privacy policy, and click both of these. At both, you can just click on either one of these to view them if you want to. And then once you come in here, you're done. And then you'll see you're able to grab a share link. So you could use the share link on social media, or you could, send it out to people in an email, however you want it to use. You can also grab an embed code, which is key. That's what Jessica's done with the presentation here, right? So that it's right within, she's popped it into her PowerPoint. That said, we know that some of you may be working with spotty Wi-Fi or firewalls, and you may want access to the actual downloaded video itself, which is something you can do. So, so in cases like that, what you should do is say, this is the video you want. I'm just going to right click and copy the name of it. So then you can open the contact page, and I'm just going to open it in another right click here, just because it makes it easier to toggle back and forth. So when you come to the contact page, you'll see the section here called Asset Download Request. So here's where you'll just put your name, in, title, organization, the download access code. Jessica will be sharing one with you later in here, and then just your email address and confirm it so that we can let you know. And then, so your intended use, so you're saying, okay, I would like this one. I'm going to use it informal education, and I'm just going to paste in the title here, and then you can add, right? So you can request as many of these as you want, and just keep doing this. You know, that said, we've talked about how these are available for anybody to use as long as they're non-commercial use, right? You're using them, and that includes, you know, social media or other things. If you have a commercial purpose, you could send a note. We can't guarantee, but you know, in some cases they will allow this. For example, a number of textbook companies have reached out and contacted us, and that's something that If Then has decided, you know, that's great. It's a good place for representation, and they want young women to be able to see these images there. So then once you do that, you just hit submit request, and you'll get a note that we fulfill these within 7 to 10 business days. Quite frankly, right now, it usually happens in 2 to 3 business days. We try to turn them around as fast as possible. But I just want to, you know, mention that it's not instantaneous because there's somebody who has to approve it and put together the share collection for you on the back end. So I would just say, you know, as much in advance as you can, probably better. With that, I am going to stop sharing and turn it back to Jessica. Whoops. There we go. Sorry about that.
All right. Danielle, I have to say it out loud too. I love when we can work smarter, not harder. Yes. The website is actually it's pretty easy to use. Like Jolene said, we've been able to turn around those requests fairly easy or fairly quicker right now. When she said there's somebody on the other end, well, it's her a lot of the time. So it's Jolene and our other colleague, Maggie. And if for some reason you have something that's like, oh my gosh, I forgot, and you're freaking out, just contact me and I can see what we can do, you know, to help you out and get things going for you. Because I used to run after school programs. I get it. I've been there. I've definitely been there and been like, oh no, I forgot to get something that I need for next week or this week even. Sometimes same day, because that's just life, right? Okay, I'm going to screen share again because we're going to do a little activity, because what I really want you to do is have some time to play with the collection yourself, right? So that you get to kind of navigate it. So we're going to do an activity. Get my screen up. Okay, so we're going to do a scavenger hunt activity. So I'm going to send you all, and I was going to do separate groups, although I think I might have enough people that I could do separate groups now. Either way, you're going to go off into a breakout room. And what you're going to do is pull up the If Then website. So ifthencollection.org. Pretty tough, right? We want you to find all of the If Then ambassadors that are based in California. We want you to list how many different careers you can find, and find one activity sheet that you think would be helpful for your programs. Now, that's a lot to do in a small amount of time. I understand. So if you don't get to that last activity sheet piece, no problem. So far, we haven't gotten to that piece because everyone has so much fun digging into the ambassador profiles, which is understandable. I recommend that you designate somebody to share their screen so that during the scavenger hunt, so that you're all kind of going together. I recommend that you designate a note taker to write down how many ambassadors you find and how many different careers you find, and a reporter. Now that could be the same, it could be the same person doing all of it, whatever works for you. Is there questions about the activity instructions and what we're asking y'all to do?
Jessica, will you put these instructions in the chat box so that when we go into our breakout room, because I have a memory that lasts about like 3.5 seconds.
I have about the same one.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stop screen sharing really fast and we will pop those in. Maybe. There we go. I'm just going to copy and paste them from my slide. Okay. Now, when you're in your breakout rooms, if you have any trouble, there's like a, hey, host, help me button. I don't know exactly what it said, like what the button says, but it's like a request help type of button. And it'll pop a message to me and I can jump in and help you out. Okay. Now we could do, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I'm going to split you actually, because we have enough. I wasn't going to at first, but now I think I will. Okay, there we go. Now, I believe you should be able to screen share because I could before I was a host. But if you have a problem with screen sharing, just click that help me and I will come help you. Good? Awesome. Okay, let's open these rooms. Okay, I'm gonna screen share while we do a little chat about what y'all found. So can someone from either group, really, because this question is pretty straightforward, share how many if-then ambassadors in California?
It's been going up.
So feel free to come off mute if you need to, or you can also pop it in the chat box. Yeah, okay, I see. Is that, were you in separate groups? I'm thinking maybe Sabrina and Julie, or were you together? 20, yeah. Nice. Yeah, so they're pretty amazing too, right? And so to build on that, how many different careers were you able to find? Again, you can come off mute and share some of the cool careers that you found, or you can pop them in the chat box, whichever one.
There's pretty much everything when it comes to students and different concentrations and CEOs and not CEOs and big people and little people. So there's definitely a wide diversity of who is in the website, which is great.
Yeah. It's literally everything you can think of pretty much, right? Any field in STEM that you're looking for, you can find. If you're looking specifically for somebody who works with after school programs, you can search that as a keyword, right? Like you can search Girl Scouts if you're looking for people that had participated as Girl Scouts. Like it's so cool. One of my favorites is the rocket scientist who is also a ballerina. Did anyone see that one? Jasmine Sadler. She's actually based in San Diego, which is so cool. Because every time I read rocket scientist and ballerina, I think, what? Yeah, there's molecular biologists, space flight scientists, climate scientists, conservation biologist. Yes, Danielle, our absolute favorite person as of yesterday, Dr. Danielle Twom is also from California, which is very exciting because she is spectacular. And if you missed the keynote yesterday, keep an eye out for the recording because it was amazing. I know, Melissa, you were there. Danielle was there. It was very good. Right?
Loved it. Yes, we're all fans. We're all big fans.
Yeah. We really were fangirling out there. Watching her. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the assets and try and like really kind of hone in on a couple of things. Okay. So first, I just want you to think about, and this has been kind of a theme with all of our if-then programming during this conference. What do you think a scientist looks like? For me, I think about the variety, right, that we talked about in career pathways, in the fields of study and things like that. So these are just some of the field shots that you can use that are from the collection. And so there's, well, the baby bear. I mean, who doesn't love a picture of a baby bear yawning? Because that's one of my favorite pictures in the collection. But there's an archaeologist, right? Like folks that are studying nature and out, as in conservation biology, there's folks that are immunologists looking to cure cancer, like, and everything in between, right? So that I think is one of the big things that I love about the collection. The other thing is the diversity of women that it shows. And it shows these women as powerful, amazing professional women in their careers. And that to me is something that I love. And the idea that this all on the screen is what a scientist looks like is very exciting. So I'm going to show one of the asset videos so that you can see. So this is from CBS's morning show called Mission Unstoppable with Miranda Cosgrove. And so I'm going to show a piece of it because it's a very long video. So I'm just going to show a piece.
Binary code. A set of zeros and ones is how we talk to computers. 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, which in robot language translates as so. Now, that's a pretty difficult language to learn, but luckily that's not the kind of coding we're talking about today. Take a look.
Technophobia. No, it's not a new horror movie. It's the fear of robots, and many people have it. But fear not, robots are actually doing some pretty incredible things, like conducting open heart surgery or driving cars. It's only a matter of time until they're a part of our everyday lives. So professional dancer, robot choreographer, and coolest person ever, Katie Kwan is using her art to change the way we perceive them. As useful as robots may be, it's often hard for humans to warm up to a cold machine.
I think that dance has so much to lend to fields like robotics because dancers are really experts at making meaning out of movement and inspiring people to feel different ways.
So her title is Robot Choreographer. So she took her love of dance and brought that into her field of robotics. Like, that is so cool. It's a dancing robot. So that's one video that you could show to your kids, right? It's a very easy clip. I think it's about 5 minutes. I can't show the whole thing because, you know, we're running out of time. And I want to show you these other great assets. So the next video is just a clip of the Curiosity Camp. So this is probably one of the best ones for after school programs because it is really plug and play. It has a video and it has an activity sheet associated with it. So I'm going to show you how these work.
This is Cool Tools. I'm your guide, Sam. I'm a conservation biologist and science educator with the National Park Service here at Cabrillo National Monument in San Diego, California. I study so many different species in the wild, like birds, reptiles, and amphibians. But today we're going to show you how I study snakes. It's my job to preserve and protect nature, and every week I hold a snake talk with my buddy Wilson here. He's a gopher snake. Did you know that snakes are actually pretty shy and solitary creatures that have zero interest in biting you? In fact, he's kind of like a puppy dog. Right, Wilson? Right. Today we're going to talk about how we catch snakes, and these are my tools. We're really interested in about taking information so that we can do a health checkup on the ecosystem. I'm going to show you how these tools work, but in the wild. So let's take a step outside of the she shed, and I can show you where the action's at. It's Cool Tools time. This is how we track animals in the wild. It's through a method called radio telemetry. There is transmitter, and the transmitter is what we put on the animal. And what it does is it sends a radio signal out into the wild. For snakes, we actually implant that. And then the other
Okay, so as much as I want to show that whole video because I love Sam, and if you missed the panel from Tuesday, Sam was actually on the panel, and so was our robot choreographer, Katie. So both Katie and Sam were on the panel. So if you missed that, check it out sometime. So the way this works, Curiosity Camp, is there's these videos and then there's activity sheets with them. So in your programs, you could show this video, and I think, let's see, this one is just over 4 minutes. So that's a pretty easy one to show during a program, right? And then you can show the associated activity sheet with it. So this is something that you can just easily print. And as you can see here, you just need a journal or some blank lined paper even, or not lined, just some paper, and colored pencils. So that's all you need to do this nature journal activity, which is really great. And I will tell you, every single Curiosity Camp activity sheet that I've looked through has had very simple supplies that you need that are definitely things that you have at your program. So they should be very easy to implement. Some of them come with the template that you would need to like make whatever the activity is. And so you just print that off. So it's pretty easy, plug and play, easy to use resources. And there's a whole lot of them. And good news, Goldie Blocks, who created Curiosity Camp, is putting out a new season this spring. So there's going to be even more assets in the collection that you'll be able to utilize for your programming. So the other thing I just want to note real fast is, so Sam Wins is one of our ambassadors. She also has those profile videos that Jolene showed. So you could show the profile video and then show the Curiosity Camp and do this activity. And that would be like a whole entire lesson for your STEAM program. Right there, just 3 things, like super easy to implement. It's especially good for those times that you maybe are stressed to the max, or your planning time got cut short, because that happens a lot. These are really easy for your planning purposes. It's helpful. There's a ton of other activities on there. There's this one that's all about clouds. There's one about making board games that has the student guide and the teacher guide. That one was created by a science center and for classroom teachers. But if I know anything about after school professionals, it's that you can adapt anything and you're the most creative folks. So I have no doubt that you'd be able to take something that was designed for a classroom teacher and use it in your programs, no problem. And then this other one, the Next Gen STEM, is a packet of activities that are all associated with, I think it's 5 or 6 different ambassadors. And so those are very easy to implement. There's word searches and different things like that that are great, like back pocket or filler activities. The last thing I want to show you is these posters. So these posters are free for you to use as well. And so this is what a scientist posters look like. I featured Danielle here because she was our keynote yesterday, and she is from California, which is exciting. But there's a whole host of these posters that you can download and use in your physical space as well, because we all know that physical representation in your space is a very important component of featuring role models and representation. Okay, that I went very fast through that last bit, so I'm so sorry. I wanted you all to have lots of time together. So this slide has lots of info, including my info and including that access code. So if you want to download things, you can just do SD, because San Diego, 2021. And that's a very easy one to remember, hopefully. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me, because I know that we went very quickly through the end of that. But I'm here for you. That's part of my role. And I would love to help you access the collection and anything that you need for your programs around this amazing resource that, again, free.